Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2023 budget hearings for the Commissioners' Health and Human Services agencies. The first agency we will hear from today is the Franklin County Child Support Enforcement Agency. We will begin today's session with a video before turning over the presentation to Deputy County Administrator Joy Bivens.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and thank you for this small amount of time. My name is Joy Bivens. I'm the Deputy County Administrator of Health and Human Services. As you all know, representing a county of 1.3 million and serving a county of 1.3 million, it comes with great successes, but it also comes with great challenges. Our county currently right now has a population, of course, of 1.3 million, but we also have some challenges in the areas of early childhood. 76% of our children in Franklin County who are African American are not kindergarten ready, as well as 82% who are Hispanic are not kindergarten ready. In the area of SNAP, we have a large population of our SNAP population that are aging, as well as children who receive the SNAP benefit. As you listen to each agency today, I would ask that you to please consider that each one of these agencies are in an effort to address the issues of social determinants of health, not as a silo agency, but as a collective. As we begin our 2023 One Door initiative, please know that these agencies work collectively together to address many of our community challenges together as a team. And with that, Director Brown.
Thank you, Deputy County Administrator Bivens. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Susan Brown, Director of Child Support. Presenting with me today are Bill Peltz, Assistant Director of Operations, and Kim Collins, Deputy Director of Programming. We're proud to be here today to represent the staff and the work of the CSEA and to present the agency's 2023 budget and strategic goals. Over the years, the Child Support Program has evolved from a traditional collection agency to a family support program. With the culmination of our work in recent years, 2023 will be a year of transformation through parent and partner engagement, relationship building with residents, and collaborative work with our integrated HHS agencies. The Child Support Program is fortunate to be part of the Franklin County community, which has been a trailblazer in addressing implications of poverty and racial inequity in our community. Our Rise Together blueprint for reducing poverty in Franklin County informs every aspect of our work as we continue to align the human services value curve to redefine how we serve the residents of our community. As such, our 2023 equity goal is to move from a one-size-fits-all equality service delivery approach, where the same actions are taken on every case, to an equity and service delivery approach that allocates resources and services based on each parent's situation. This theme is intertwined throughout our presentation, along with our budget, our 2022 agency accomplishments, our key initiatives for 2023, and our challenges. Our 2023 recommended budget is $24,847,052. 77% of the budget is attributed to personnel costs and fringe benefits. The remaining 23% is attributed to materials, services, special initiatives, and our grant projects. Parents first interact with the child support program through the establishment of paternity, which lays the foundation for parental rights and financial support. So far in 2022, 44,658 children have been connected to their fathers. This number consists of paternities established through our agency processes, as well as paternities established judicially in hospitals and registrar's offices. The child support program interacts with more fathers than any other public program, except for the Ohio Department of Rehab and Corrections. And we understand the impact that fatherlessness has on our greater community. We know from US Census data and the National Fatherhood Initiative that children raised in father-absent homes are 4 times greater to be at risk of poverty, more likely to have behavioral issues, more likely to go to prison or commit a crime, more likely to face abuse and neglect, more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol, along with many other adverse outcomes. We can see the consequences of fatherlessness here in our community with the rise in gun violence, the climbing homicide rates, the concerning situations where our youth are becoming involved in crimes, such as the Kia Boy car thefts. When paternity is established, we are strengthening ties between a child and their parent to provide greater opportunities for emotional and financial stability and reducing the negative consequences associated with father absence. Within a year of case initiation, financial and medical support for the child must be also established. Unlike other human service programs, the child support programs facilitates the transfer of funds from parents who do not live with their children to households where the children reside. Support orders are based on actual earnings to help ensure the amount is within the parent's ability to pay. The majority of our families live on incomes that fall below the poverty threshold, making the child support program an anti-poverty program. For low-income parents, receiving child support consistently offers a lifeline out of poverty. Our current caseload of 68,297 represents 103,002 parents and 79,339 children receiving services. Most parents who do not live with their children full-time still want to support them. The child support program seeks to engage and assist parents, which aids in overall parental involvement. The agency receives federal access and visitation grant funding to provide mediation services for parents who wish to establish a parenting time order. And they can do so at any point in the life of the child support case. Mediation provides a platform for the agency not only to build rapport with the parents, but to emphasize the importance of financial and emotional well-being of the children. During the last access and visitation grant year, 170 parents utilized mediation services, impacting the lives of 103 children. This aligns with goal number 12 of the blueprint, which is to increase the number of children in safe and stable homes and environments, as well as goal number 13, which is to strengthen partnerships with parents to increase support for young people. Fostering these goals are a recurrent theme in our work. In 2019, we began a pilot program supported by the Board of Commissioners. It was called the Journey: A Parent's Voice. Due to the interest in our work, we became federally funded as a research trial that centered around early intervention and career advancement at the point of entry into the child support program. The program focused on building positive relationships with parents through proactive and individualized case management, rather than intervening after debt had accumulated on a case. Through the Journey program, we were able to work collaboratively with parents and community partners such as Jewish Family Services, Action for Children, and Goodwill Columbus to ensure that parents had the tools and resources necessary to access job training, career development services, employment opportunities, and to ensure that they were enrolled in parenting programs. Our partners connected residents with resources for housing and mental health, depending on what needs were assessed. Eligibility for the Journey program targeted parents needing support in areas considered social determinants of health, particularly in education and economic stability. Parents served in the Journey program were unemployed or had a history of unstable employment and therefore would struggle to support their families. Over the course of 2022, the Journey program enrolled a total of 64 parents, with 34 in the treatment group receiving Journey services. Though the funding has ended, Journey serves as the inspiration to break tradition and shift to an equity model centered on individual circumstance. In 2023, we will embed intensive case management units within the establishment department for individualized and targeted services for parents. And now I'll turn it to Bill. But is everybody seeing our PowerPoint slides? They do not appear to be up.
Yeah. Thank you, Director Brown.
We're on slide 6, and now I turn it to Bill.
Director, you do have.
The agency.
Okay. You should have the capabilities to co-share. If anybody does not, let me know and I can delegate that.
Bill, do you want to try to share?
You're on mute, Bill, and for the sake of time, can we ask someone from the from child support to take over the screen for Bill so we can get started?
Hi there, this is Taylor. I'm trying to share with my screen, but it's been disabled, so I can't do it from my end. I've sent the slide
Taylor,
to
I just
Bill.
went ahead and made you co-host. Go ahead.
Can Bill get started without this while Taylor figure out the slides? Director Brown?
The slides are showing now. You may proceed.
Okay, thank you, Taylor. The agency's performance spotlight measure is the percent of current support obligations collected on time. In the federal fiscal year 2022, the agency distributed $146,315,815 to families as current and overdue support. For federal fiscal year 2022, the CSEA provided 66.1% of current support to families in the current month due. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, in 2021, 23.6 million children in the U.S. do not live with both parents. These children are at greater risk of experiencing economic hardship. Receiving child support means families can provide the basic necessities, pay rent, mortgage and utilities, buy groceries and clothing, provide health care, and other costs associated with raising a child. This measure was selected as the agency continues to embrace a holistic approach to serving families by improving and increasing the delivery of supportive services for individuals to access employment. Addressing this issue supports goal number 4 of the Rise Together Blueprint for Reducing Poverty, which is to develop and invest in programs that provide long-term personalized employment services to help our residents transition to and succeed in employment opportunities. The agency utilized the findings from our behavioral interventions in child support grant to better understand an individual's behavior and decision-making process. As such, the number of parents who received an order modification that is reflective of their ability to pay has increased, leading to the greater likelihood of consistent monthly payments. Providing supportive health and financial security to the vulnerable populations helps prevent child abuse and neglect, ensures that children can develop to their fullest potential, and reduces juvenile behavioral problems.
The child support program is unique in that case management is long-term. We partner with parents for 18+ years. During this partnership, parents who do not make their child support payments are subject to discretionary enforcement measures such as license suspensions and non-discretionary enforcement measures such as interception of tax refunds. If these methods do not yield sufficient payment, the parent is at risk for referral to the legal system for contempt of court. This slide is a visual representation of the active driver license suspensions in our caseloads from this past year. When we look at the top 5 zip codes with the most suspended license, it is the same 5 zip codes with the highest accumulation of child support debt. When comparing these same areas with the Kirwan Institute poverty map from the Rise Together blueprint, these are the same zip codes that denote the highest level of poverty in the county. We have the data that shows that our punitive actions are targeted toward the areas that need the highest levels of assistance and disproportionately impact our communities of color. Within our commitment to equity, it is our responsibility to own that our one-size-fits-all policies do not adequately fit the unique circumstances of our residents and may serve as a barrier to breaking the cycle of poverty. Therefore, it is imperative that we invest in research and continued data collections to inform the future actions we take as an agency. This has begun with our innovative grant work and desire to decrease barriers parents are facing in gaining employment and other economic milestones. Our agency is changing case management philosophy to ensure that we understand the circumstances of each individual and that we're using the right tools for the right situations. For those who cannot pay, implementation of discretionary punitive measures is delayed until all other alternatives have been attempted. Since 2016, the agency has been participating in a federal random control research trial, Procedural Justice Informed Alternatives to Contempt, or PJAC, which tested a different approach to the way we obtain child support payments. PJAC principles build trust between parents and agency processes to encourage voluntary compliance, increase reliable payments, reduce overdue support, minimize enforcement, and decrease contempt referrals. PJAC integrated the ideal of fairness into our case management practices using the 5 principles of procedural justice: respect, understanding, voice, neutrality, and helpfulness. It is proven that when using the principles of procedural justice, parents feel empowered and are more accepting of outcomes because they view the process as being fair. PJAC staff identified and addressed the underlying reasons for non-payment while connecting parents to supportive services. PJAC utilized behavioral economic principles that continue to inform agency policy, making decisions, and communication. In the overall federal study, PJAC services were provided to 1,033 parents and led to nearly a 60% point reduction in civil contempt filings. In the Franklin County PJAC group, only 29.7% of cases resulted in civil contempt filings versus 79.2% in the business as usual control group. The conclusion of the PJAC federal research trial provided a template for the creation of an intensive engagement unit within our enforcement department. Our goal for 2023 is to fully operationalize the unit to connect with parents at critical points in the child support process and provide education about available community supports. To broadly apply PJAC research in 2023, our equity goal includes agency-wide training on the principles of procedural justice and behavioral economics with the intent to incorporate these strategies into all communication and case management. As an agency focused on family development and stability, Part of our mission involves preventing the need for child support services through educational and parenting programs such as Mothers Matter and Father Factor through Action for Children, Father to Father through the Columbus Urban League, and our most recent effort, the Youth Economic Mobility Grant. Earlier this year, the agency was awarded a $1 million Health and Human Services grant to participate in the second cohort of the project, charting a course of economic mobility and responsible parenting. This 3-year grant focuses on Generation Z, ages 13 through 24, with the purpose of developing curricula and other outreach interventions to educate teens and youth adults about the financial, legal, and emotional responsibilities of raising a child. The agency and several community partners designed a peer-to-peer approach to delivering the No Kidding Ohio curriculum with the idea that participants will be able to relate to peer educators who have gone through similar experiences. In 2023, our goal is to collaborate with existing youth development programs, schools, foster care transition services, and juvenile justice agencies to reach as many young adults as possible. As an agency, we strive to approach case management in a way that is both data-driven and human-centered. We see the strategy displayed as our program serves both parents in a unique role, aiding survivors of domestic violence who rely on financial support for their children. In 2020, there were 31,800 incidents of domestic violence, protection orders, and other equivalent charges filed in Ohio. 3,660 of them were in Franklin County. Even then, many cases of family violence go unreported. In February of this year, it was found that cases in Franklin County needing family violence indicators were underreported by 8% when compared to the federal case registry. In August, Ohio was selected as a participating site for the HHS ACF Safe Access for Victims Economic Security, or SAVES. Our agency, along with the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services, Office of Child Support, and Cuyahoga County Child Support Services, will work in 2023 to review administrative and judicial processes, policies, and procedures to promote safe access to all child support services for victims of domestic violence. This demonstration grant will not only impact the residents of Franklin County, but families throughout the entire state and nation. As we prepare for the implementation of SAVES grant, our internal domestic violence work group is identifying areas that need addressed to increase safety for residents and staff. This group recommended a substantial change in our establishment process that reduces the risk of family violence and increases safe access to our services. For example, genetic testing appointments for parents with children in common are now held on different days to avoid potential confrontation or intimidation. The work doesn't stop here in Franklin County. Our grants administrator participates in a statewide work group focused on the intersection of domestic violence and child support, which provided toolkits for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, along with a series of workshops for staff. Our innovative grant work, collaboration, and outreach efforts allow us to connect with residents in their own neighborhoods and to challenge current program policies to better meet their specific needs. Our work with public, private, and nonprofit organizations allow us to offer an array of tailored assistance and resources to families. As outreach engagements and requests have increased tremendously over the past year, our outreach team and employee volunteers have evolved to meet the growing demands, collaborating with the different HHS agencies to provide holistic support to residents. In partnership with the Office of Justice Policies and Programs, I Father a Child grant, our outreach staff conduct regular information sessions in the Franklin County Jail. So far in 2022, our agency has participated in 125 outreach events, 53 of which were mobile unit events at Mountain High Street to provide information about our program and services with residents visiting the courthouse. The events were covered by a total of 33 staff members who took the opportunity to have meaningful engagement with residents and learn more about services provided through the other HHS agencies.
Our agency serves residents in a unique way, engaging with mothers, fathers, children, employers, business owners, and other organizations in the community to increase family stability and success. Internally, the agency is as diverse as the residents and community organizations we serve, being comprised of departments that offer legal services, support establishment, and the case management of support orders, to name a few. In 2022, our Policy, Research, and Evaluation team, or PRE, continued to work alongside these departments to assist in the continued development of key performance indicators, or KPIs. The PRE helped the departments analyze the efficiency in which they serve residents through an evaluation of their data and recommended areas to create goals to better help the residents engage with the agency. For example, the PRE helped our establishment department create better tracking tools and policies to track the outcomes of resident early engagement strategies. The team has also streamlined data reporting from the client information services to help them in their KPI of answering the calls of 95 out of every 100 residents, ensuring that the virtual front door to our agency is always open, welcoming, and impactful. In 2023, the PRE team looks to continue to redefine the agency's definition of performance by shifting from reporting statistics to reporting, measuring the resident impact. The PRE will also launch new strategic planning initiatives that align the agency services with the Rise Together blueprint for reducing poverty. Current policies and practices will be reviewed and updated to further promote an inclusive and equitable environment for both Franklin County residents and agency staff. Progress and achievement also involve accepting and working through obstacles along the way. The challenges we experience can be used to inform preparations for tomorrow. As we continue to utilize evidence-based practices, we all know that all data is good data. This past year has brought numerous challenges, including one that every HHS agency has been experiencing: employee recruitment and retention. Our current full-time equivalency is 215 out of 269 budgeted positions. With over 50 positions open across various departments, our staff feel a significant strain as workloads increase and training staff is overloaded due to high staff turnover rates. Agency leaders and supervisory staff have been active in the County Futures hiring events to recruit and assist individuals seeking employment with the county. Through this program, our agency has been able to recruit and hire 8 individuals from the community for positions within the agency. We will continue to recruit at the County Futures events, and we'll also take every opportunity to market our positions at every outreach event that we attend. We accept the responsibility of acknowledging and addressing the historical policies that have served as the foundation of our program. As mentioned, child support services have transformed from traditional enforcement to a family-centered approach. However, politics, stereotypes, general assumptions, and government reports continue to influence on health and human services programs, including child support. Many of the original traditional practices of the program still exist, which include factors that create barriers for families accessing services, affect parents' success in the program, and perpetuate poverty. Dismantling these barriers starts with agency-wide training to disseminate information about the policies, their impact, and how to mitigate them within each employee's sphere of influence. It also includes ensuring that we have different ways to measure our impact, such as the number of parents and children served in our intensive case management units, increases in parents' ability to provide financial support for children, as well as feedback from the families as to whether our services were a benefit to them. We aim to move in this direction through our innovative grant projects, early intervention and intensive engagement units, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and incorporating behavioral economics and procedural justice principles as we move towards an equity service delivery approach. With this goal in mind, along with the vigorous tracking and evaluation measures, it is our hope that our 2023 ambitions will become 2024 accomplishments.
You're muted, Susan. Susan, you're muted. Director Brown.
Director Brown, we cannot hear you. I think that they must have turned their volume down. They must be all in the same room. But if anybody can hear us, we cannot hear you speaking.
Director Brown?
Oops.
why
Can you
don't
hear me
ask
now?
questions?
Okay. Did you hear that at all? That last part? Okay. I'll make this very short. I'm sorry for the technical difficulty. But finally, I want to express my deep appreciation for the support and guidance of Deputy County Administrator Bivens, County Administration, and the Board of Commissioners, and for your patience in our technology today. There's no other agency in the state of Ohio that does more innovative national research than that of Franklin County CSEA or the research and work of the HHS agencies. I also want to thank our dedicated, committed, compassionate, and social mission-driven staff. The work that we described today was conceived and designed by them. There's so much more to report about in the work of the child support program, but due to time constraints, I'm unable to report it all. So as such, we developed a supplement to our testimony that lays out more of our work in detail. I'm excited about what's ahead, and I'm honored and grateful to be part of the Franklin County team and the child support team. Thank you, and we welcome your questions.
Thank you, Director Brown and team for that overview on the work that you all have done in this year. My only question, I think, right now is, do you know of any pending legislation or policy change at the state level or federal level that could impact our families or payments for support orders?
There's a couple of things going on. I guess indirectly regarding payments right now, as a matter of fact, in the lame duck session, there's House Bill 83, which is the caretaker bill. And the caretaker bill's main focus is that child support follow the child. In the counties in the state of Ohio, there's multiple interpretations about how child support should be allocated if there's a caretaker caring for the child. In many counties, it requires that the caretaker have legal custody of the child before the child support can be directed to them. So this caretaker bill will unify that law to basically make it very consistent that child support is to follow the child. As long as the caretaker can show that they have physical custody, then that child support should follow the child. Also, there's a guidelines council that is convening right now. The guidelines council convenes every 4 years to take a look at the Ohio child support guidelines to make sure that they're still relevant to the families that we're serving. So that work is currently being conducted, and the council is comprised of a wide variety of members, including participants that use our program, I believe state representatives, the Office of Child Support, the Directors Association, and others, perhaps even the Ohio Commission on Fatherhood. So that work is going on as well. And if there are any recommendations, then those recommendations will be brought before ODJFS and hopefully ultimately the legislature. So those are the two I can think of off the top of my head.
So what is your thought? Is the thought that it would pass during lame duck? If not, are you hoping that it comes into the budget process, or is it going to be a reintroduction of the legislation next General Assembly, specifically House Bill 83?
We're hoping it goes through during lame duck. There's proponent testimony scheduled for the end of November. So we're hoping that it's passed during lame duck. If not, that it be reintroduced. It's already passed the House.
So it's in the Senate. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess my other question is, following this, and I missed Children's Services testimony yesterday because I had a board meeting that I couldn't miss. So they might have talked about it yesterday. So when we talk about kinship care, I'm assuming that these would be the families that would be impacted as the child support follows the child. And we know historically in this state, when it comes to kinship care, that family members get way less money than a person who is doing foster care. So we know that this would be helpful. Do you have an idea, or do you know if Children's Services, or maybe somebody else can answer this if they're on the call, how many families would be impacted that are in kinship care that could potentially benefit from this legislation passing and having child support orders follow the child?
Commissioner Crawley, I don't have that information offhand, but I can certainly research that with Chip Spinning and see if I can find out that information.
And once that legislation passes as it currently is, would that be a burden on child support staff to try to figure out those orders and payments, through the process of implementation?
This is one law that wouldn't carry any excess burden to the agency, because we're already doing it in certain cases. We're doing it in public assistance cases, and in other counties, they're already doing it as well. It's just, this is a consistency problem across the counties. So to some degree, we're already doing it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners or admission, are there any other questions or comments for child support enforcement?
I do have one. I'm sorry. How many, I saw that there was a decrease, but it was due to, was it vacancies? There was a little over $1 million decrease between the approved budget for 2022 and then the projections, which was attributed to anticipated vacancies. And so just in general, when it comes to staffing, what are your staffing ratios looking like and versus in vacancies?
Bill, do you want to try to cover that question?
Yeah, Commissioner, right now we are at the 215 out of 269 approved, so roughly 50 vacancies. And the large majority of them are in our frontline police manager staff.
And we take pretty significant, Zach, you may know this off the top of your head, but a pretty significant vacancy credit. And I'm trying to find it.
Yes, and so the vacancy credit taken in last year's budget was 10.7%, but I think given the 50 plus vacancies, you're running much higher than that this year, which results in that lower than anticipated expenditures.
Okay.
Thank you, Zach.
Is there a need to fill those vacancies, or we're like the productivity is good, just operating with the 215?
Actually, we're struggling because our caseloads, when we're fully staffed, is about 1,000 cases per our support officers. And right now, our support officers are sometimes carrying 2 and 3 caseloads, which when that occurs, we begin to be very reactive rather than proactive. So instead of, reaching out and being able to provide those proactive touch points, things like that, we're just basically putting out fires. So every county futures event that comes up, we're out there just, doing as much marketing of our positions as possible. Another case in point scenario right now that Kim can probably address, we have our secretaries within our establishment department that schedules all of our administrative support hearings and all of our paternity hearings. We have none. So we also have clerical
Clerical specialists.
clerical specialists that also we have none. So we have other staff who are doing the work and having to put in overtime. But you know, those are very difficult positions to fill. And even when we fill them, if we have good people, they quickly promote into the support officer positions. So it's a constant, it's probably one of our biggest challenges right now is to maintain our staffing. And we're doing pretty good in hiring. It's just, it's cyclical. I mean, as many people as we hire and many, you know, other people are leaving the agency for other organizations. So, but we're working on it every day and looking at opportunities where we can do more.
Thank you, Director Brown, for that. I'm happy to be helpful and promote anytime that there's, you know, a hiring fair. If there's anything else that we can do, more public affairs, don't hesitate to let us know. I know Commissioner O'Grady, I think he had some questions.
I don't have any questions. Just wanted to say, you know, continued great work. Appreciate what you guys are doing. Keep it up.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Now, thank you, Susan, and thanks to the rest of the Child Support Enforcement team. And with that, this will conclude today's hearing from Franklin County Child Support Enforcement. Commissioners, if you're ready, we can go on to our